Hello.
Hi, Warren.
Hi, Mia. I couldn't get on video. I need to download an app.
Okay.
Are you on video?
Yep.
So what did you do? You just when I pressed join in, it said by phone or video. I pressed video, and I had to download an app. So I'm waiting for that.
Oh, yeah, probably just WebEx.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start the meeting.
Hello? Oh, oops. Oh. You can hear me now?
Yes.
I had you on mute. I'm gonna mute everyone upon entry.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, perfect.
Everyone should be muted on entry.
Yes.
Hi, Tyrone. Tyrone? Oh no, he's muted. Got him.
Hear me now?
Yes, I hear you. I'm gonna mute people as they come in. Once the meeting gets started. Once the chair gets into the meeting, I'm gonna mute all, and then as the discussion takes off, we'll give everyone an equal opportunity for some input.
Fine by me.
How
You
are
doing
you?
all right?
Pretty good. Can't complain.
I'm hanging in there.
Good. Waiting for what time is it? 7:02. I guess we're on time.
Somehow I thought it was 6:30 at first. I actually got my wires crossed. All these Zoom
Okay.
times, the times all become one big blur now.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Okay. But hopefully everyone will make their way shortly.
You prefer WebEx over Zoom at first?
Borough Hall actually secured WebEx first, so it wasn't really our choice.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they picked up the licenses for us, and just yeah. So why not?
That for all the community boards or just Web 9?
Hmm?
That for all the community boards or just Web 9?
Just for the Brooklyn community boards, the Manhattan borough president secured Zoom from them.
Okay.
So Brooklyn boards are using WebEx. Just because there was some discussion about the security features and security hazards of Zoom.
Right. Yeah, I heard about a lot of hacks
Yeah.
and people trolling Zoom. I heard
Yeah,
about
it's called Zoom bombing,
yeah, Zoom bombing.
where people come in and do random things or say random things and hop in and out of meetings.
Yeah.
Good evening, Miss Timothy. Good evening, Miss Timothy.
Good evening.
How
Come
are you?
in.
Waiting for the rest of the gang to join us. So far, it's myself, Khalid,
Huh?
Warren. I said so far it's myself, Khalid, Warren. Tyrone from NHS is here as
I
well.
hardly hear you. Let me just.
Yeah, you have to. The speaker is really
Excuse
sensitive.
me, Mia?
Yes,
Mia?
Warren. Yes.
Is there a meeting password?
Yes.
Yes. The password is in the email.
I know, but I'm just downloading the app and it asks me for it.
I'll send it to your cell phone because it's a very long one.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I'll send it over now.
Okay, I'll be right back. Let me just
I'm
check on
checking
something.
the email.
I sent it via text. So as
Okay,
people,
thank you.
sure. We're just waiting for folks to get here. Waiting for the chair. Good evening, Miss Boyd. Let's see. Oh, okay. Hold on. Mr. Chair? I can't hear you. Well, I don't know. Can we hear you? Can you hear me?
Hear me?
I can hear you now.
You ready to hear me?
Yes. Oh, we can hear you now. We have a few folks in here. If you want to give it a few more minutes just to let people kind of
No, absolutely. I think this,
make their
you know,
way.
yeah, absolutely. Actually have to download the app to actually do the video conference. So you might have other people doing the
I
same
did
things.
too.
Good evening, Alejandra. How are you? Good. Good to see everyone. I feel like it's been like forever.
Hello?
Hi, Good evening, Miss Leopold.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you, my dear? Okay. I'm gonna mute everyone's mic as of right now. Mr. Chair, just let me know. We're gonna give it a few more minutes so that we don't have to endure everyone's background noise.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna mute everyone's mic, and then once we're ready to start, I'll unmute so we can move forward. I'm gonna ask that everyone turn down anything in their background, whether it be a radio or TV or anything else that's close that can give us feedback into the conversation. I believe the chair is about ready to start.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Someone has some feedback going on their line.
Somebody has something in the background.
Yeah, either they're very close to the TV or something.
Can you mute the
Okay, I think that's good.
Gotta stop eating.
Good evening, Ms. Boyd.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we're just waiting for everyone else to enter. I'm gonna unmute.
Is this being recorded? Because I don't see a button. Okay.
WebEx is recording this for us.
Okay. How would the public be able to get access to this recording?
We'll post it on our social media and we'll have it available. For folks to head over.
So are we gonna start?
Well, you don't have quorum now. You're still waiting for the executive committee to show up.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Chair.
No, I'm not the chair. I'm a member
Oh,
of the
okay.
community. Thank you
I
very
got
much.
confused.
But if you
Please don't
didn't
start
know
that.
that, then I'm
Sorry,
glad I
Alicia.
informed you.
have a
Okay,
question.
guys, let's just,
Don't start that, please.
I'm just gonna mute all the microphones until the chair advises me that he's ready to proceed.
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Hello. There's do something. Hello.
Good evening, yes.
Hello.
Everyone, I'm gonna ask that you mute your backgrounds. If you have a TV on or any other type of electronic device that's gonna provide feedback into the meeting, please turn it down and get into a quieter space.
Hello. Hello.
Good evening. We can hear you. We haven't begun the meeting yet.
How they
I
gonna do
can't
this?
get the password. Hello.
We can hear you.
We can hear you. Yes.
I need a password.
Who am I speaking to? Whom am I speaking to?
This is Pat Moses, and I don't have a password so I can get in to the video call.
Yes, what you said. Okay. Give me a second, okay?
All right.
Thank you. I want to have someone send it to you now.
Okay. Thanks.
Someone has something very loud in their background.
Just as a housekeeping point, just because we're going to pick up all the background noise, everyone, if there's any.
How are they gonna do this with 50 people?
It's 11:20.
This is the first. So electronically, something we're not. It's part of the reason why we apologize that be part of this as well. But forward in terms of using the technology, so for us to be able to ask for just a little bit more patience. I've gotten a couple of messages. I know that there are people who are still trying to get on. So we're trying to allow the opportunity to download the app. So that's taking. We're gonna get ready to.
Mr. Chair, you are breaking up. We're hearing every other word.
Every other.
Yeah, you are breaking up. My complaint is that this was sent out since last week, so everybody should have downloaded it already and get themselves ready. They shouldn't wait for now to download it. All they had to do was just log in.
But you don't have to download it from. You don't have to download. You can get on from the internet.
And you can get on, exactly, you can just get on from the internet. That's what I did. I didn't download it. I just went on the internet.
I couldn't, it wouldn't allow me to download, so I just went on to the internet. So they might need to do that.
We're going to start in a second, and again, this information is helpful. Let me ask, still breaking up?
No, you're pretty good.
Okay. These are part of the growing pains in terms of getting used to this technology. But we're going to start in about 2 minutes, and we're going to actually go into the agenda.
Every time you hit this, that's the settings. That won't.
If you can hear me, can you put the raise hand function? See that? Have fun. We're gonna have fun. Okay. Well, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. The time is now 7:25. First of all, let me just say it's good to see a lot of you. We've been through a lot as a community. Been through a lot personally as well. I know that there are many of us in this community who are ill. There are many of us who have lost. So what I would like to do is, even if we just begin with just a quick moment of silence, just to honor and respect all those who have passed and those who are sick as well in our district. Thank you. Okay. So again, this is probably a really weird and new experience for all of us in terms of we're doing this virtually. And this is something that's really only made possible because of the governor's order in which he lifted some of the restrictions of the open meetings law. One of those was against teleconferencing. So as part of his executive order, he's allowed public bodies to be able to do this. So part of what we're going to be doing is we're going to have, we're test piloting right now. This is the first meeting we've had as a board in terms of utilizing telecommunications, teleconferencing. And as you've seen already, we are, and I thank you for your patience. We're going to have hiccups. We're learning how to use this, but the idea is, as a board, we are trying to get better in terms of one, being able to do have these meetings electronically, at least in the time being until things get better, with the eye on being able to meet as a general body, and eventually also have the committees be able to start transacting certain amounts of business as well. Now, with that being said, because of the current environment, there are certain pieces of business that we won't be able to take care of. So currently, there are processes such as ULURP, which is implemented on the state level. Typically, one of the functions we take care of as a board is we do hearings as well with regards to liquor licenses, along with TLC applications. So many of those functions are either suspended or we're in a holding pattern, and we're communicating with city agencies to find out how we're going forward, at least in the meantime. So at this point, what I would like to do is, do we have any committee, how many committee chairs do we have on currently?
I believe we have Debbie Timothy, Fran, Carmen is here, Alejandra's here.
Okay, great. And I want to thank you all for being here as well. So I think on the, and I see ULURP. ULURP is there as well.
Yes, but can you hear me?
I didn't hear that last piece. What was that?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, as long as you can hear me.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yeah, no, so I mean, we just wanted to have the executive committee here. I'm glad some of the chairs will be able to be here as well, because part of what we're going to be discussing is having a single item where we're talking about admin and the chairman's report check-in.
Yes, I hear you.
I see it. Yeah, there's a low network. Thank you, Optimum. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Khalid or Mia? Nicole, I saw your comment. I still can't hear. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm getting conflicting reports. I see breaking up, and I see still hearing me. Okay. We're going to keep. Okay, good. We're going to keep trying to go forward as best as possible. If you miss something, you know, and I guess when my signal kicks back up, I'll try and cover the points again as well. Actually, I think Rob, probably right about now, this is probably a good time. Mia, would you be able to begin with an administrative report?
Sure. Just give me one moment. Um, just a few quick things. The website is just about done. Since DeWitt has been working remotely, we're going to have to coordinate with Clint, who's been a big help at DeWitt in terms of launching the website because DeWitt remains the administrator. And essentially, they'll be giving they'll put a permanent redirection from our current site to the new website. Additionally, of course, as everyone knows, we've been working remotely, Khalid and myself. We retain complete access to the phone, the email, and the social media. Constituent complaints have actually been kind of low in constituent inquiries, but Khalid has been doing an awesome job of sending out information that should answer just about any question that anyone would have at this point in terms of resources and service availability. That's about it for now. I believe, I guess jump back in when you speak in terms of like processes and protocol in terms of how we've moved forward in operating remotely. As this is just a new precedent. We've never had to do this before, and we've kind of had to create our own work plan. So this is definitely a new experience.
No, absolutely. And I just wanted to underscore, let me make sure. Mia and Khalid have been phenomenal in terms of, you know, maintaining the district office. You may walk by the building and it looks like the gates are down, but they are clocking in and they are clocking out every day. And they are still responding to constituent requests, still processing information. I think I spoke with Mia earlier, and the one thing we're probably going to do is we're probably going to explore actually putting signage on top of the gate, just so that way people do understand that yes, the gate is closed, but the operation, the district office is still fully functional. And again, we're going to continue putting things out digitally as well. So really, part of what we're getting used to is how do we operate in a socially distant world, where we're not necessarily physically able to see each other, but at the same time be able to communicate. And that's going to affect a number of different areas as well. I'm sorry, Mia, I just wanted to jump in and put that point in. What else did you say you had?
Sure. That's about it. But to that point, I think that we will be, there's been talks amongst the other community boards to figure out how community boards should evolve. And this has been a big turning point in how do we remain relevant and how do we evolve and continue to service the community in this capacity. But, even in future instances where it's not a pandemic, but, in a more remote society, how do we remain relevant? So that's another conversation that we look forward to being a part of with the other community boards.
Absolutely. And this is a conversation that, I'm really thinking very hard about it. And I think I've spoken to a number of other board members as well. As we talk about after COVID-19, one of the things that, at least in my opinion, and I'm definitely looking forward to hearing from everyone else as well, is we can't expect a return to normal, in air quotes. There are going to be considerations about, okay, well, listen, safety. Do we need to do things certain ways? I know that right now we're still getting used to my voice probably going in and out, but you know what? Perhaps there are instances where teleconferencing is better in terms of it's better. It enables us to communicate more rapidly. We can do things. So perhaps we'll be looking for comment in terms of, okay, well, listen, after everything is over, are there specific instances where teleconferencing should be permitted, and how is that done? we're looking at in terms of board operations. And this is something we actually need to discuss as well, or will be discussed as we get more details. There are going to be financial impacts as well to the community. So one of the communications that has come out is that there will be a cut in all across the board for all community boards in terms of budget for the financial year 2020. And the conversation is also about another significant cut happening to all community board budgets for fiscal year 21 coming up. So I've already had a conversation with Mia in terms of, we need to start looking at, our finances. What do we need to do? How do we prepare in terms of what's going to be a different financial landscape, fiscal landscape for community boards? And even as I say, community boards citywide, because revenues are going to be down. I think we've seen in the notices that were sent out regarding the community resources, there are services that have been canceled or suspended currently, and they may go away, or they may actually stay that way for some considerable time after any restrictions are lifted regarding COVID-19. So yeah, we have a lot of conversations. Additionally, I definitely want to make sure we're taking this time to kind of understand where the real pain points are. I'm really concerned about the state of our seniors in our district in terms of how they're affected. And again, I want to look going forward as well. How can we get services to them in an improved fashion so that way they're not at risk, and we can make sure they're getting the things they need. Another conversation, and this is something that we have to walk and chew gum at the same time. The census is one of those things that we were working really hard on prior to COVID-19. And it's kind of amazing the timing, because I think the city shut down just after census data started going out. But it's critical because we need that data in terms of understanding how many ventilators we need. We need that data to understand how many seniors are in our district that we're going to need to support. We need that data to understand how many students we have, because as we said before, the ramifications of a census are going to, we live with that for the next 10 years. So we need to make sure that we're pushing on that as well. We have our Health and Social Services Chair, so she's been working on that. We've had conversations along with the Complete Count Committee. Some more conversations we'll have updates as well with regards to how do we make sure we're taking care of everything we need to, but at the same time, need to make sure that we're responsive to the census. I've heard that there are conversations about postponing certain deadlines or moving certain deadlines. That will help somewhat, but we have to act like, it has to get done by tomorrow. The deadline is tomorrow. We need to make sure that we're putting it as far as we can. Yeah, for some reason, I'm thinking like I missed something. Is there anything? Oh, I'm sorry. Just in terms of game plan also, I just wanted to discuss this, and we can probably open it up for some questions and comments shortly as well. With regards to the operations, so I think this is a first critical step for us in terms of just getting together and just kind of having a conversation and seeing how this goes. I absolutely welcome, please send any commentary with regards to how this went to improve, where the pain points are, so that way we can try and do better. We're looking at scheduling the, I think we've scheduled it actually.
General board meeting. We're putting up notice. Yeah, we'll be putting up notice after the conclusion of this meeting.
So again, so we'll be having the meeting next week. So we welcome all the commentary with regards to that. Again, I'm asking, thanking you for your patience in advance while we get through this, but we will get through this. And the conversation is about how do we resume certain business. One of the things that we'll probably be looking at is by the bylaws, we will be impaneling a nominations committee. We do want to start looking ahead, even though elections are not until June. We do want to start trying to stay as close to the bylaws as we can in terms of impaneling a nominations committee. And part of that will be not only just the nominations, but how can we make sure that we're actually having a process that aligns with the spirit of everything we're doing, but at the same time takes into account the fact that we have to be socially distant as well. So that is something we're looking at. At this point, I know I've talked a lot and you might be tired of my voice. I think, Mia, we might be able to open it up for questions.
We definitely can open it up. I can unmute everyone, but please give me a second. You have the option to unmute yourselves individually.
Okay.
Okay, so but just, let's be mindful and give each other a chance to talk and not speak over each other. So whoever would like to speak first, feel free to unmute yourself. I don't want to unmute everyone all at once.
Okay, I just unmuted myself. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, before I start, I just want to say hi to everybody. It's so good to see different faces other than just seeing four walls. And seeing you guys, I miss you guys. And to the chair, I just want to express my sincere condolences to you and your family again. Although you're facing a crisis and then the loss of your dad, but you are still holding, the bull by the head, by the horn, and you're still riding. So we appreciate you and we thank you. And on behalf of the Health and Social Services Committee, we express our sincere condolences to you and your family. I'm happy that you brought up the seniors. The seniors, I'm very concerned about. I did touch base with Caleb, and Caleb did send me a list of the updated list for the seniors in the community. And I did touch base with quite a few of them. And one of the concerns was that since the beginning of the epidemic, they were doing the grab and go. And then when the city took over, then they started doing the delivery of the food to the seniors. And one of the concerns one of the directors had is that the city, they took the information, the seniors' information from their database to contact the seniors. But then it turns out that they were only, correct me if I'm wrong, because that's the information that I got, that they were contacting the seniors via text messages to let them know as to the day and the time that they were making the delivery. Now, some of the seniors, they do have a telephone, but they don't text, all right? Some of them, they don't have a phone. So the director was kind of concerned as to those seniors who don't have a phone and those who don't text, how are they getting in touch with them? And I had a meeting with the city yesterday, and they were saying that there were a lot of complaints because some of the people, apparently, they outsourced the delivery. So they had people from outside doing the delivery. And for those seniors who live in apartment buildings, they would drop off the food downstairs and ask the seniors to come to get them. So now if you have seniors who live on the 4th and the 5th floor, they have to come down. They would call them and they tell them that the food is downstairs. So also the information that was out, so Caleb did put out information as the number to call the DFTA for seniors who are part of senior center and seniors who are not registered to get food delivery. And I gave some of the mentors the information, but then when we had conversation with DFTA, I was not accepting any new registration. So so any senior who have not been registered for the past year with DFTA before the epidemic and who's not part of a senior center or any of those organizations, they will not accept any new registration. So they would have to call 311, and then 311 will put them in touch with getfoodnewyork.com. That's the only way they can get food. But DFTA will not be accepting any new registration. So I was told that calls that they take from any seniors, a senior who want to opt out of the program, if they don't want to receive any more food, then they will say, okay, I don't want to. So that's the only calls they're taking. So that is a big issue for me, because some of the facilities that I called, they were saying that I spoke to Ebbetsfield and quite a few of them, and they were asking me for how can they get masks and hand sanitizers and gloves and stuff like that. And we know hand sanitizers is like searching for a needle in a haystack. So yesterday, somebody from Congresswoman Clark, he called, and I think what he's been doing, he's reaching out to Block Association presidents to find out as to in the area who are the seniors who need food delivery, and then who need the mask, and gloves, and stuff like that. So, and I know some of the block association people, because they didn't really understand what was happening and we thought it was a hoax. So I told them that, you know, that they were really calling from the office. So that's the issue with this thing. So and then even like with Fillmore, we know that I haven't heard from them, calling them to find out exactly what's happening with their people, and I have not been able to touch base with them. I know so Shalom, they have been doing their own food delivery, so that's their center has been taken care of. Going over to the census, I spoke to the lady from the census, and information got back to the Brooklyn office that President Street, I think Brooklyn Avenue and Brooklyn and Empire and President Street, and there are 3 locations in our district that the count was very, very, very low. So she wants to for us to have a conference call also to see as to how we could tackle that, as to what we could do. So that's a discussion, a side discussion. Mr. Chair, we can't hear you. We can't hear you though. We can't hear you.
Still can't hear me?
Okay, you now.
Okay. All right. I need to invest in a new speaker. First of all, thanks for all that information in terms of, yeah, it's impacting our seniors a lot. With regards to, let me go to the last point first, the census. Absolutely. And I think that these are the things that I want the committee chairs to consider in terms of what are those top things that you probably need to discuss. Understanding some things you won't be able to tackle just because of social distancing, you won't be able to do them, or city agencies aren't doing the services, but we can follow up on those things. So I think that with regards to 311 calls, or if there's issues, challenges, very similar to what we've been telling people. When you call 311, please make sure you get a reference number and also follow up with the board, because that way we can also chase it to see what's going on and what's not being responsive. And when we start seeing patterns, we can. Yeah, can you hear me now? Yes, hello?
I hear you.
Apologies. Yeah, because I know the signal was going out for a second. So yeah, if they follow up with the board office, we can get those numbers and we can chase those as well to figure out where the issues are and if we need to escalate. But absolutely, I'm glad. Thank you very much for all that information, and we'll talk offline as well, because I do want to make sure this coordination, because we do have the complete census count committee that we've been a part of. So I want to make sure that we're looped together so that way we're not duplicating efforts. But we'll have a call on that one as well. So we'll discuss that one to see what the next steps are. And we might also be able to get some resources with regards to helping us with implementing that. So yeah, we'll have a conversation with regards to that. We'll report out.
Yeah. So so I know that we have Carmen is there. I don't know who else else on the board who's association chair, but that's one of the things that they look for. So they apparently the gentleman whom I spoke with from the Congresswoman's office, he says he wants a number so then they can send it to FEMA for the food delivery. So if you know anybody on your block, any of the seniors, anybody on the block who need food delivery, either you can give me a call or you could call Congresswoman's Yvette's office and give them the information and let them know the area where you are and everything, because they want to count so they could send it to, it could be gloves, masks, and food delivery. They want to know as to how much you need in your area.
I have a question for the chair.
Sure.
Can you hear me? Huh?
Yes.
You said next meeting. What meeting are you talking about? Next meeting for what?
We are going to be, well, I'm sorry. Let me see. We're having a general board meeting that'll be next week.
Are you serious? You mean people?
That's
You can't have more than 10 people. How are you gonna have a board meeting?
that's not correct. Actually, with regards to EMEA, please let me know. The limit is much higher than 10 with regards to the WebEx.
Yeah,
Be there.
I think that no, we'll be virtual next week. And we have a capacity of 1,000, I believe, at this current time.
1,000. Oh, we're not gonna be in person.
No, 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 no.
No, 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 no.
I was gonna tell you, I wasn't gonna
I
be
know
there.
you miss us, but no.
On that note, I just wanted to. Listen. I was.
9 of us will come over. 9 of us over to your house, and
No, you're not. I can't have any company. But I wanted to say. I wanted to say something in terms of testing. I know that a lot of people have been getting confused about Mega Evans will only test, I don't know, 1199 members.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
It's supposed to be offered to healthcare workers, essentials, but it was supposed to be additionally service available for the vulnerable population at 65 or older. As I believe Beverly communicated that it was brought to the attention of our local electeds, and they were supposed to be advocating for the additional availability of testing for our vulnerable population, our 65 and older with pre-existing conditions.
I have information for everybody that has a car that could be tested on, you know what, it's Sears on Bedford Avenue.
Yeah.
Okay, 2359 Bedford Avenue. They are taking anybody if you're in a car. So they already started their testing. Some friends of mine have already went, and the number to call to get an appointment. I'm gonna take this number down. It is 888-364-3065. And what they'll do is when you call that number, they'll give you a call. I mean, they're gonna have a callback number, and their callback number is gonna be 518-282-0638. And what'll happen is they'll make an appointment. But what they'll do is when you call in, they'll take your name and they're gonna call you back on that area code 518 number, and they're gonna give you an appointment. And all the people have to have is their
number.
huh?
Can you please repeat that 518 number?
Okay, that's the number they're gonna call you back on.
No, can you repeat it? I didn't get the phone number.
Can you repeat the first number, please?
Okay, I'm gonna start again. First number is 888-364-3065. You call that number to make an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just say, when you call that number to make an appointment, they're gonna try to reroute you someplace far away. Tell them where you wanna go. Tell them you like to be tested on Bedford Avenue, which is Sears, 2359 Bedford. Else they're gonna try to send you far out someplace. And their number that they're gonna call you back on is area code 518-282-0638. And you have to be in a car. And you have to have your appointment before time.
You have to be in a car?
Yes, this is not a walk-in, this is a drive-up.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I can ask a question to anybody to answer, because my sister, she did call that number over by Sears, and she told me that I gave her the number for Mega Everest as well as the one for Sears, and she said when she called the Mega Everest number, they asked her for a credit card.
No, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure about that as well.
Okay, so yeah, she said whoever spoke to they asked her for a credit card, and then she got through to somebody else, and then the person told her that anybody who asks you for a credit card don't give your information.
okay,
Wow.
Credit card information.
Mega Everest is only texting 1199 members.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I heard.
The elected officials are trying to get them to open up to the general public, but right now they're only working with local 1199.
Right.
Okay.
But again, on Bedford Avenue, if you can get that information out to people, because they can bundle up in cars and just go, get tested.
Cannot bundle up in cars because
Well, they can
Like,
be in a car. Let me correct that. Who's in your household? How about that? They have to be in your household because they're going to ask you for ID and stuff. So it's whoever's in your household that you want to go with you, you could be in the same car. Is that correct, ma'am?
sounds right.
Yes.
If I could ask this is great information. First of all, thanks so much for letting us know this, Pat. If I could ask you to do this, I know, one follow-up. If you could email that to the board, and this goes out to everyone on the call as well. If you know of these resources, it's great if you can send that to the board and Khalid and Mia, I guess I'm trying to throw work on your desk. If you could compile that so that way we can create a resource.
The board already sent it.
The board already sent from the mayor's office and the governor's office because they send out all that information on a daily basis by email.
And if there's anything else, so I guess the real thing is if there's anything that we're not having right now. So if there's something you haven't seen on that, that's great. But if there's a new one, let us know so that way we can vet that and add that as well. But thanks for confirming that. If it's already there, Khalid, thanks for being on the ball and taking care of that already. So for new resources, and that goes really across the board. If there are resources that are being offered for residents that are going to be helpful, that's what the board is there for, so we can help disseminate. I understand that the state senator sends it out. I understand the majority leader sends it out. It's okay if we send that out too, because I don't believe there's too much information being out there. So, it's just getting as many different channels as we can. So, but again, thank you so much for that information. And as we get more, please.
I know. With regard to the census, I will send out, I don't know if Mia or Khalid, have you guys gotten the information about the text out the town campaign or that's taking place on Thursday? Where people can sign up and they will send you a list of phone numbers that you can text to encourage people to complete their census.
Yeah, I received that.
I will forward, if you didn't get it, I will forward it to Khalid and you all can send it to the board and you should put it on Facebook and because this is the way to increase those counts.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
The city census office has been doing a whole lot of text account campaigns.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Boy.
Excuse me, can you hear me?
Yes.
One of the concerns that I have is the fact that all this information is going on the internet, and we have a large population that has no access to the internet. The previous times that they have is when they go to the library or they go to one of our elected officials' office. And so you're disseminating all this information, but the most needy population is not getting it. So my concern is, why isn't there some very large signs in front of community board's office just saying, if you want to be tested, boom, call this number. If you want, if you need this or that, call this number. Because if you just want to keep sending it out through the internet, then you're still only going to get a small population. You're not going to get the most needy population. So are we considering other forms of way of reaching out to them? Obviously, we can't put flyers in the door. Obviously, we can't. Well, we should be able to put posters up on poles. That would be nice. But definitely something in front of the community board that just talks about several things. One is testing. If you want to get tested, and let people know they have to have a car. So what happens to all the people who don't have access to cars? We got a large population that doesn't have cars. You can't hire an Uber or a taxi to sit there and wait for you on the line. So how are we servicing those people? That's one of my major concerns. So, and when I checked, The only site that I found that was servicing walk-ins was all the way in Coney Island. If this is true, then that information needs to be out there to the public, because the two sites that are within our community are not servicing anyone unless they have cars. So that's the other issue. So again, should we not have huge signs in front of the community board saying, if you want this, call that number. If you want that, call that number, and let people know you must have a car if you want to get tested inside this community board.
No, all points well taken, and that's part of the conversation we've been having as well. Going back to some remarks I made regarding the complete count committee, definitely was scary to see the numbers with regards to the response rate, and part of it is trying to figure out what the strategy has to be changed and upgraded to deal with a social distant environment where we have to do social distancing. So absolutely, one of the ideas that came up was signage. Definitely, I think we talked about it. So we can turn, it's a steel gate, but turn that into a bulletin board where we can actually just post things so that way, even if the office is closed, people can still get information with that. Figuring out places where people congregate. So supermarkets, working with them in terms of being able to get signage up there as well. So as people are coming in to get their food. Some local merchants that are still open, being able to cooperate with, work in coordination with them in terms of getting that up. So those are things that we're exploring, and you should be seeing more with regards to that as well. But that's definitely something that, yeah, it's come up. It's come up. I mean, because our whole strategy before was like, oh yeah, we're going to do these big things and have rallies, and we're going to get together, and we're going to go to the schools, and we're going to do that, and half of that is out the window at this point. So we have to pivot at this point. Laundromats, thank you very much, Tyrone. Yeah, we have to pivot right now and figure out how can we do this and accomplish the mission while understanding what the constraints are in terms of being around too many people and maintaining 6 feet.
Also, I have a question about the financing. I know that we had this large chunk of money this year. I've been stating, why haven't we spent it? Are you now saying that that money is not spendable, or are you talking about the year coming up? So if that is the case and we can still spend the money that has not been spent, why aren't we spending it? Because we know that we're about to get cuts. So what?
And that's the conversation.
So what's the budget for going forward? Is anybody going to discuss where this money, which is over what, $70,000, where is this money now being spent? Where's this community board?
That's a conversation I'm starting to have with one office team, and it's going to be a conversation we're going to be having as a board as well, in terms of, especially given that, so we're going to take a cut this year, which I think we can deal with. We also have to start preparing in terms of understanding we're going to also face a cut next year. So there might be purchases that we would have deferred that we may say, listen, let's get the stuff right now while we do have the cash. So there's going to be some pivoting that we're going to be doing as well. Again, I think.
Are you planning on spending that entire $70,000? That's my question.
That's the plan. I don't plan on sending anything back. But at this point, this is a conversation we're having, and we'll be able to report more on that. But some of these developments are fairly recent as well. And even in terms of how we can spend it, because I think the Office of Management and Budget, right now they're not processing budget modifications. So that's not even a matter of we can even spend it, because until they process the budget modifications, we can't do anything anyway.
Yeah, but you need to be prepared, right? Should you not be prepared?
No, absolutely. And we're having those conversations. So that's something, conversations that I'm starting to have with the team in terms of what things do we need to say, okay, well, listen, we would have deferred the purchases until next year, but no, that goes on the front burner. Let's take care of that now. Census, we're going to come up with budgets around that in terms of, okay, well, listen, we're not doing digital. We're probably going to go hard copy. So you know what, we may want to devote some funds towards that as well as looking at any other budget lines.
Also, one other thing, because most of your budget is comprised of personnel, and like 20,000 is just extras. If there's going to be a budget cut, it's probably going to be into the personnel department. Is that what you're foreseeing as far as budget is concerned?
That is definitely part of the conversation in terms of where the money is coming from. So yeah, I mean,
okay, so
you're right. I mean, because we could take a cut this year. I mean, and I don't want to commit to anything because I don't the team and just kind of figure out a strategy amongst the board. But absolutely, you're right. We probably have, if it's a $4,000 cut, we could probably take it from personal services, and it won't affect our operations, and we can still do everything else we want to do. But I do want to talk with the team in terms of making sure that's what the case is and make sure there's nothing else coming on. And as well as figuring out, okay, well, let's forecast a little bit next year. If we're looking at taking a cut here, where should we be making expenditures so that way we minimize the impact? I'm not going to say there's no impact, but so that way we can minimize the impact. And, and I don't want to seem like, I'm not trying to answer your question, but the thing is we don't know, but it is something that has definitely come up with the office team. And we're going to be discussing that over the next couple of months between the office team. Once they give some recommendations, it's going to come before the executive committee, and it will be discussed in front of the board as well. And implemented.
So when can we see a budget, Fred? When can community see a budget that's going to be spent, all the money spent? Because it has to be spent before May.
Well, absolutely. But if you haven't noticed, we haven't been. Hold on.
I think the most important part that we need to speak to is that whatever purchases that we make, we need to coordinate staff being on site. And that's something that we have to be very careful with having people in and out of the 890 Nostrand office. So we have to take precaution and we have to plan deliveries and purchases. So this is something that we need to put a solid plan in place just for the safety of myself and Khalid, because more than likely it will be he and I there.
But this is something that we're committed to getting as soon as we can and as quickly as we can, because we understand definitely there is the time component there that we need to be aware of. But that's going to come up as soon as we can as well.
May I ask a question, please?
Sure.
It might be off the subject, but I'm just wondering and seeing how the frontline people, how they are being catered to in other districts. As to, is there a plan? Is there something that our community can do for our frontline people in our district?
I'm a little.
There is something going on right now for this, all of the hospitals in these areas here. I can't remember the name of the organizations, but they are doing something, a GoFund thing, which is a big thing for all of the frontline workers. I just
in the hospital personnel.
Organization is.
What did you say, Carmen?
I forgot the name of the organization, Debbie. They've gathered funds with smaller local businesses who are cooking meals,
they have people
delivering them to various shifts at the hospital.
Yeah.
They have the East Flatbush first responders. I mean, there's a group that's Meals for East Flatbush first responder. They have a GoFundMe page. They have been feeding the workers at downstate Kings County Hospital, some of the nursing homes. So they are actually on Facebook. Warren, I think I sent you an email with that attached.
I think I got something
with regard to Kings County. There are groups out there, and also the Flatbush Mutual Aid Group out here. They are also, Brian Cunningham's wife is basically, I think she's spearheading it, or she's in charge of administering the fund. They have also gone around, they do mostly groceries. They buy groceries for people who don't have food. And they submit a request form online, and they buy them groceries and bring them to their home, as well as the food banks in Crown Heights. There's food banks in Bed-Stuy, Crown Heights, and East Flatbush that you can call and give them a moderate grocery list, which means, don't order your turkey wings and things of that nature and, steak, but a moderate grocery list. And they will also deliver those groceries to your house. So there's a host of groups that are already engaged in raising funds, and there are a lot of organizations that have been giving funds to those groups to continue their efforts.
Wonderful.
That's a lot of great information. Carmen,
Do
and
that.
if I could ask Carmen and anybody else who knows about these functions, if you could, again, I understand it's like I hate putting extra work on people. If you can send us that information, because what helps is if we can compile a list of what's
Yeah.
being done, it helps us to look and see what's not being done and to see where at the board it's appropriate for us to jump in or where we can try and see if we can, enlist additional aid and support. So whatever you
Yeah.
have is so that way we can figure out as a board.
You don't have to recreate the wheel. The wheel is out there. You
Exactly
just have
what I
to
thought.
support it.
Exactly.
If every board member contribute whatever they can, if people in the community contribute whatever they can, those that are in position to do so, it would be helpful to those that are in need right now.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. I didn't know about that at all.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And Fran, thanks for that question as well.
Mhm.
Okay. Do we have any other questions as well?
Another question?
Yeah, I have a question, Fred. So with regard to the committee meetings, I know that some of the transportation committee members want to kind of regroup so that we don't kind of lose touch. So what do we do? Do we reach out to me and Khalid and try to set up a web meeting like this for the committee?
Absolutely. I think the plan, and I definitely look for your feedback. I would like for us now that you'll probably have 2 go rounds with WebEx before the month of May. So if we can resume, I would definitely like to get feedback from the chair about if you feel we can resume meetings. So go back to the regular committee schedules, utilizing the WebEx. And again, I leave it to the person in terms of figuring out your agenda, in terms of what the needs are, what needs to be addressed immediately, and what you're capable of, what you're capable of doing at this point. So the goal would be to actually resume committee meetings online in the month of May.
Okay.
Well, as you know, the ULUP, I think they have closed that down for a bit now. There's no action, nothing happened with ULUP at this point. No process.
Yes,
Correct. I mean,
yes, that all of the ULUP applications been shelved and stayed, and the continuum application has been put on permanent hold, in permanent hold.
but with that being said, Pat, if you even just want to meet with your committee, I think there's just a value even in just checking on making sure everybody's okay. And just letting seeing faces and saying, listen, we're still here. We might be on hold for right now, but this is a time to, one, just check on each other. And two, listen, we can still brainstorm. We can still think about things. Again, like I was saying, I think we need to start thinking a little bit ahead in terms of what do we look like in the next few months? So when we come back in September, what are we doing? What kinds of things are we doing, looking at, or activities or things we need? So I'll leave that to your discretion.
Just so you know, we did hold a meeting in March. Was a training session we were able to do before they closed down everything. I think it was March 2nd. And we were able to do a ULUP training. And a number of people did show up. Not as many as I would like, but we were able to do that.
And perhaps if we coordinate that again, we can use this as an opportunity to, you can utilize the WebEx in terms of actually doing an additional training. So things like that are definitely within the realm of things you can do.
And just to you, Fred, I just wanted to personally say, I was sorry to hear about your father passing. Just wanted to say that to you personally.
Yes, indeed, Fred. Our condolences. I know I reached out to you, but I just want you to know that our hearts are with you. It's a very difficult time. It's a lot of people that are being affected, a lot of families. You talked about when we regroup, it is going to be different because there's a lot of good people that have not survived this crisis. So we have to keep everyone in prayers.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is really the time we need community. And I want to thank everybody for all the well wishes, the texts, the emails. Is that support that's really been able to help get me through this time. It's been tough. We're expected to bury my dad next week. And we can't do the things that we would want them to do for him.
Yeah.
And I understand it's not just me. It's not just me. And people in our community, we're going through the same thing. So we can be there for each other. And as much as we can actually do service for each other, I think that's how we honor all those that we've lost.
Yes, indeed.
But again, thanks to everyone. Really appreciate everyone.
Everybody be safe.
Okay.
So I will send Khalid and Mia whatever information I get. I will follow on a daily basis, and feel free to share.
Thank you very much.
Oh, listen,
Hey,
just one.
Didn't I just see Amy just said that she came in? Amy's on?
Amy there?
Who?
Amy Pickinton, I see she said she just came in.
Tyrone, thanks very much. You take care.
Thanks, Tyrone.
Thanks, Tyrone.
I saw her on the chat very briefly, so she was here as well.
Yeah.
Very briefly, before we conclude, actually, the one thing I did want to do is actually the agenda. And with my common consent, I want to do something very similar to what it's going to be probably very spare in terms of we're not going to have 19 different areas. An opportunity for public commentary where we can. Check-ins, very similar in terms of we're able to report back out to the general board and the community in terms of the conversations we have and things that are going on. And it's really, like, again, it's probably going to be very spare in terms of this is just really an opportunity to kind of just do the test run, see how this works, how we can make this work. I would expect the May meeting is going to go, by May we should be experts, I think. I'm hoping. But really just an opportunity for us to get together to engage with each other and to engage with the community as well. And also to get feedback in terms of where the pain is happening in the community that we may not even know.
Fred, one of the things that I'm glad we didn't disconnect. With regard to the TLC licenses renewal request, and as well as the liquor licenses, what has been put in place in order to move those things forward? Because we haven't met, because I know there's somebody who submitted a request for taxi, a TLC renewal.
Oh, yes, Transportation Unlimited on Nostrand Avenue.
Right. So I meant to ask what process is going to be put in place if it hasn't already been done with regard to these requests. But they do have to, the city agency, they're still moving forward with businesses as well as the state agencies. So how are we making sure that we don't hold up those applicants' requests?
And that's some of the conversations that I've had with Mia, with the district office, in terms of, I think we've already talked about with ULURP, so we're not doing anything with ULURP. ULURP is on hold right now.
Right.
My understanding is liquor licenses. The state liquor authority is not processing anything at this point, and they're not holding it against any applicants. So we are not required to do any hearings for them. So we don't need to do that for them. TLC is the only one that I'm not certain of where the status is. So I've already requested that Mia reach out to TLC and find out what they're doing. So we'll have an answer for you by the time we come in next week.
Okay.
If they're moving forward, we'll let you know, and we'll be able to put a calendar, it's electronic hearings, discuss how we'll do that as well.
Okay.
Fred, I did have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. There's going to be a whole, new board members, or are there going to be new board members? Because I know that this is around the time in which the new board members are supposed to be getting acclimated. They're supposed to be screened and placed on the board. What is the borough president's position about that or plan for that?
I could not speak to that, honestly. I don't know. But what we can do is, Mia, I'll make the commitment. I'll reach out to Borough Hall and find out what the schedule is and timing is with regards to that. In terms of when new board members are going to be impaneled.
Because normally board members are introduced in May. Normally that's been the.
Yeah. I believe it's going to be a slight delay on that because Borough Hall is completely remote. And I know that process encompasses paper applications as well to be reviewed. I'm not sure about their level of access to that. So it may very well be a delay and board appointments.
Okay.
But
Well, if we could find out, that would be great.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Are there any questions?
No, it was wonderful.
In terms of coordinating all the projects that we may possibly want to use for the funding, how do you plan to move forward with that? Because I'm sure that people have ideas or things that they, may want to.
Oh, no. So definitely, and subject to change. Part of my strategy would be this. First of all, I want to make sure the office gets everything that they need in terms of being able to take care of, run efficiently. So I think we had already had conversations about certain infrastructure, certain hardware that we're going to try and get in there. Still on board with that. Looking ahead, understanding that we're going to take a cut next year, there might be purchases that we would want to do this year as opposed to wait till next year when we have the cash. So we'll do that as well. So that'll give us a rough estimate in terms of about how much money is left. But definitely I'll be communicating with the chairs in terms of ideas from your committees about projects or things that we would normally not fund that we should really push right now.
Is there a list of items for the office that was discussed already? Maybe you can put that on paper and we can look at it at some point.
Oh yeah, sure. No, absolutely. Because before there are any expenditures, those will be run by the board for confirmation. So that will definitely be taken care of. If we have any initial list, if you could just share that with me, I can send that out to the executive committee as well.
Definitely. Most definitely.
So we'll report out as soon as we can on that one.
Okay. I only one comment I forgot. It was that for the seniors end, that the the days, I don't know how we could rectify this, because we were told seniors were getting food for 7 days, but the chief of staff at Diana Richardson's office told me it's not so. They're only getting food for 5 days. So we don't know as to how they are making up the two. So somebody else says that there are other places, food pantries and stuff, where they're delivering food. So whatever information that I get, I could pass it on to them so that they can send out, although there are seniors, and there are seniors who are asking at one of the facilities, asking for people who can, for them, because they didn't have anyone to go out. So if anyone,
so that's what some of those places deliver the groceries. And the Flatbush Mute Aid, they actually do that kind of stuff. They do errands, pick up medicine. Most of the drugstores actually will deliver to seniors. If they're not on those mailing, by mail prescription, Rite Aid and a lot of those places are now delivering prescriptions. But those groups that I mentioned before, particularly the Flatbush Mutual Aid, they do run errands.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'll get the information from Mia when you send it to her in the week. So I could pass it. Thank you. Okay.
All right.
All right.
So good seeing everybody's face. Good seeing you guys.
Everybody stay safe until we meet again.
Right.
Good night.
One other thing, Mia, don't forget when you send it out, you gotta send us a password, or else we can't get on.
It did come with a password.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, because I didn't get the
in the
password.
body of the email. Yes, in the body in the email.
I'll just make sure that I'll highlight it so you guys is prominent.
Thank you.
No problem.
And also make the note, because like I said, I fell into that as well, where I had to download the app. So that might be something we might want to let people know. Hold on, but there was also, you know what? Let's just leave it at this. If there are any suggestions, please send those to Mia, to the office, so that way we can incorporate those. So we'll hopefully, we'll learn from any errors that happen from this one and improve on the next one.
Mr. Chair, are we data that we use because I find that GoToMeeting, that is the software and everything, and then the audio and everything is so much better. Because I use GoTo for work and the GoToMeeting, and it's very good. But it's easy for you to use the WebEx.
And Mia can correct me, but I understand.
Recommendation, right?
Yes, Borough Hall purchased a license for all of the Brooklyn community boards.
Okay. All right.
Just gotta download the app and you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's everybody has to download.
All right.
Or successful just doing it on the internet, let us know how you did that as well. Just so that way, hopefully it goes a little bit smoother. We definitely want to start closer to on time for Tuesday.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Good. That's pretty good for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Take care and have a great.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Be safe. Yeah.
All right. Stay safe, everybody.
Stay healthy.
Okay.